Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Srimad Bhagavatam 3.24.39 Mam Atmanam Swayam Jyotihe Sarvabhuta Guha Ashayam Atmane Eva Atmana Vikshya Vishokaha Abhayam Richasi Mam Atmanang Swayam Jyoti Sarva Bhuta Guhashayam Atmanyeva Atmana Vikshya Vishoko Bhayam Richasi Mam Atmanang Swayam Jyoti Sarva Bhuta Guhashayam Atmanyeva Atmana Vikshya Vishoko Bhayam Richasi Mam Atmanang Swayam Jyoti
Mam Atmana Swayam
Sarva Bhuta Guhashayam Atmanyeva Atmana Vikshya Vishoko bhayam richasi.
Mamatmanam swam jyoti
Mamatmanang swayam jyoti.
sarvabhuta guhashayam
Sarvabhuta guhashayam.
atmanyevatmana viksha
Atmanyevatmana vikshya.
shoko bhayam richasi.
Vishoko bhayam richasi.
Mamatmanam swayam jyoti
Mamatmanang swayam jyoti.
sarvabhuta guhashayam
Sarvabhuta guhashayam.
atmanyevatmana viksha
Atmanyevatmana vikshya.
vishoko bhayamrichasi.
Vishoko richasi.
Mamatmanam swayam jyoti
Mamatmanang swayam jyoti.
sarvabhuta guhashayam
Sarvabhuta guhashayam.
atmanyevatmana vikshya
Atmanyevatmana vikshya.
vishoko bhayamrichasi.
Vishoko bhayam richasi.
Okay, online devotees. Rajasthan Mataji.
Hare Krishna. I can't see the whole verse. Mam atmanam swayam jyoti
Mamatmanam swayam jyoti
sarvabhuta guhashayam
sarvabhuta guhashayam
atmanyevatmana vikshya
atmanyevatmana viksha
vishoko bhayam richasi.
vishoko bhayamrichasi.
मामात्मानं स्वयं ज्योतिः
Mamatmanam swayam jyoti
सर्वभूता गुहाशयम्
sarvabhuta guhashayam
आत्मन्यवात्मना वीक्ष्य
atmanyevatmana viksha
विशोको भयमृच्छसि
vishoko bhayamrichasi. Priya Jaiswal.
मामात्मानं स्वयं ज्योतिः
Mamadhanam swayam jyoti
सर्वभूतगुहाशयम्
sarvabhuta guhashayam
मन्येवात्मना वीक्ष्य
atmanyevatmana viksha
विशोको भयमृच्छसि.
shoko bhayamrichasi. Jyoti Kokani.
मामात्मनां स्वयं ज्योतिः
Mamadhanam swayam jyoti
सर्वभूता गुहाशयम्
sarvabhuta guhashayam
आत्मनि आत्मना वीक्ष्य
atmanyevatmana viksha
विशोको भयमृष्यसि.
shoko bhayamrichasi. Me. Atmanam.
The Supreme Soul, or Paramatma,
Paramatma.
Swayam Jyotihe,
Swayam Jyoti.
self-effulgent,
Self-effulgent.
Sarvabhuta,
Sarvabhuta.
of all beings,
All beings.
Guha,
Maha.
in the hearts, Asayam,
Asayam.
dwelling,
Dwelling.
Atmane, in your own heart,
In your own heart.
Eva,
Eva.
indeed,
Indeed.
Atmana,
Atmana.
through your intellect,
Through your intellect.
Vikshya,
Viksha.
always seeing, always thinking, Vishokaha, freedom from limitation, Abhayam, fearlessness, Rishasi, you will achieve. your intellect, you will always see me, the supreme self-effulgent soul, dwelling within the hearts of all living entities. Thus you will achieve the state of eternal life, free from all lamentation and fear. Purport. People are very anxious to understand the absolute truth in various ways, especially by experiencing the Brahmajyoti or Brahman effulgence, by meditation, and by mental speculation. But Kapila uses the word Mam to emphasize that the personality of Godhead is the ultimate feature of the absolute truth. In Bhagavad Gita, the personality of Godhead always says Mam, quote, unto me. But the rascals misinterpret the clear meaning. Mam is the supreme personality of Godhead. If one can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he appears in different incarnations and understand that he has not assumed a material body but is present in his own eternal spiritual form, then one can understand the nature of the Personality of Godhead. Since the less intelligent cannot understand this point, it is stressed everywhere again and again. Simply by seeing the form of the Lord as he presents himself by his own internal potency as Krishna or Rama or Kapila, one can directly see the Brahmajyoti, because the Brahmajyoti is no more than the effulgence of his bodily luster. Since the sunshine is the luster of the sun planet, by seeing the sun, one automatically sees the sunshine. Similarly, by seeing this Supreme Personality of Godhead, one simultaneously sees and experiences the Paramatma feature, as well as the impersonal Brahman feature of the Supreme. The Bhagavatam has already enunciated that the Absolute Truth is present in three features. In the beginning as the impersonal Brahman, in the next stage as the Paramatma in everyone's heart, and at last as the ultimate realization of the Absolute Truth, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who sees the Supreme Person can automatically realize the other features, namely the Paramatma and Brahman features of the Lord. The words used here are Vishoko Bhayamrichtasi. Simply by seeing the Personality of Godhead, one realizes everything. And the result is that one becomes situated on the platform where there is no lamentation and no fear. This can be attained simply by devotional service to the Personality of Godhead. Do you have any comments for that? So, some of the things that stood out to me here were that the Lord will be visible to Kardama Muni through his intellect from within his heart. So it says, through your intellect, Atmana, Vikshya, always seeing, always thinking. So, we know from the Brahma Samhita that Pramanjana Charito Bhakti Vilochanena, that this Pramanjana, this salve of love, anoints the eyes of the pure devotees, and it becomes possible for them to see the Supreme Lord everywhere. And it's also stated that in the Bhagavad Gita, Gita Raga Ayakrodha Manmanamam, that one can, when one has passed over this Vita Raga Vaya Raga Vaya, attachment, fear, Vaya, and Krodha, anger, then one can actually, having taken shelter of the Supreme Lord, then one can be situated in perfection. And that is what Kapila Muni is actually assuring to Karma here, that he will be able to pass over this Bhaya and this Vishoka. Abhayam, fearlessness, Rijtasi, you will achieve. And this is similar to the peace formula verse which we hear from Bhagavad Gita as well, that when we are cognizant and we're conscious and we have full conviction that the Supreme Lord is the master of all the planets and the demigods, He is the benefactor of, or the beneficiary of all the austerities and tapasyas and yagyas that one may perform, dana, tapa, yagya, as stated, as referenced in the Bhagavad Gita, that these things should be never given up, but who are we doing them for? And they're done for Krishna. When we know that, and we know when He is the best friend of every living entity, Gyatva mam shanti parichchasi. So this parichchati maybe, and that's the same thing. We achieve peace from all the sufferings of this material world. And Prabhupada here, he speaks about how the Brahmajyoti is, people are anxious to understand the Absolute Truth in various ways. So that's something that we experience every day when we go out. And we know from our own lives as well that, people are searching after something. And everybody is actually looking for Krishna or the Absolute Truth in its different features. But according to their knowledge and qualification, then they search for Him in different ways. So it's stated, Ye tamam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham, that as we surrender to Krishna, as we develop a service attitude towards Him, then He reciprocates with us. So Prabhupada discusses in the purport to that verse that it's only Krishna who's giving the results of karmic activities to those who have faith in karma, and He's the person who's giving, realization of the impersonal or the non-dual to the jnanis, and so on and so forth. And so He's actually the one that is actually satisfying all the living entities. It said that Bahunam, Eko Bahunam Yo Vididat Kama, that He is the one who's satisfying all the desires of the many living entities. These living entities are naturally desirous. That's the qualification of the living entity, is that they have many desires, and according to our faith, then we channel those desires into different activities of different calibers. And when one becomes wise, then he starts thinking that, well, why shall I try to satisfy my desires, or why shall I place my faith in which is temporary? Adyantavanta, that this, temporary material pleasure is coming and going. And the Buddha, they say, Nateshu Ramate Buddha, that the sages and the Buddhas, the intelligent people, they don't take pleasure in the sources of misery. So, if somebody becomes actually intelligent, then they ask this question, well, material nature is here, and I'm trying to enjoy it, but I'm simply getting into trouble. So, who is actually owning the material nature? And if it's somebody else's property, then I'm a thief if I try to enjoy it. And that's what we are. We're thieves when we try to enjoy Krishna's property selfishly. beyond our quota, or without, even within our quota, without giving due deference and respect to him. And so there's a way in which we simply have to develop gratitude for the Supreme Father. And if we develop that gratitude, then that is the impetus or the inspiration for service attitude. And as was mentioned in the purport, many people are anxious to understand the Absolute Truth and to experience the Absolute Truth, especially in this feature as Brahman, or this totality of energy. And they can understand something like Source, or the universe, they call it these days. The universe is kind of a plural thing, so that makes it easier not to surrender. And therefore we have the universal form topic, which we've been speaking about and hearing about in the Gita classes, that because the universal form is so vast, then there's no personality that has to be respected or worshipped. But Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Brahmano hi pratishtaham, that certainly I am the seat of the impersonal Brahman, effulgence. And that's what's discussed here, that if one can actually see Krishna, then they can actually automatically experience the Brahman realization. And this is actually why it's stated so many times. There's many verses that Prabhupada, there's many lectures that Prabhupada gave on verse 7.1. And it's very exhilarating, philosophical content. And he discusses how we have to get asakti, we have to become attached. Krishna says that mind attached to me, right? How do we get our mind attached to Krishna, right? Well, that is the simple process of bhakti yoga. If we want to go through the other forms, right, of scriptural recommendations to become attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is the ultimate purpose of life, then it's not going to be possible in Kali Yuga. Only by Bhakti Yoga. And Prabhupada stresses on 9 forms of Bhakti Yoga, 9 forms of pure devotional service. And those two start with Shravanam and Kirtanam. And of course, early on in our devotional service, at a certain point in our devotional service, we take up deity worship, and we participated in varying degrees, but it helps us to do some additional austerities for Krishna, which become all-pervasive in our life. And that's the concept, is that I can hear and chant, yes, but I can't hear and chant attentively all the time, at my stage. So the concept is that, we can't artificially imitate personalities like Haridas Thakur and the Goswamis. But even they actually, it's described that even they were actually excavating the holy places and building places of pilgrimage and doing hard labor, kriyasu, to actually inculcate Krishna consciousness into other persons. So this Krishna consciousness movement is the most important process to actually become attached to Krishna. And as Kapila Dev is actually reassuring Karma Muni in the past few verses, His Holiness Nanagiri Goswami Maharaj, he spoke a wonderful sutra-like, passage of transcendental knowledge the other day, saying that we're so fortunate because Krishna consciousness is completely amazing, and everybody can rest assured that you can put your whole heart into it because it's going to work. And just as Kardama Muni is able to see the Supreme Lord by his intellect from within his heart, every single place, everywhere he goes, if we follow this process given by Srila Prabhupada here now, which is to, and Prabhupada in another lecture, because Prabhupada gave so many lectures on this verse, 7.1, then there is a way in which the topic becomes very robust and flushed out, and many references come up and build to our understanding. If we become completely obsessed with Krishna, right, we love him, then we'll think about him all the time. Right? And Lord Krishna is actually, Kapila Deva is actually reassuring Kardama Muni that if we think about him in this way, if we always think about him, then we'll be completely free from fear and lamentation. And these things, this lamentation and fear, and attachment and hatred, these dualities of the material world, they disappear in the Supreme Person. And we can experience unlimited rasa in relation to his service. So, personalities that are actually envious of Krishna, they delude the Bhagavad Gita, and when Krishna says, Mom, and Vyasadeva says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, and then Krishna says, Mom, they don't take it that Krishna is speaking about himself personally. They say some nonsense like the Supreme Absolute within Krishna. And that person is bold enough to say it and put it in a book and put his name on it, but most of us are a little bit more mediocre in the sense that we don't want to give Krishna credit, and we read Bhagavad Gita while simultaneously taking credit for all of Krishna's glories. Many of us, when we started reading Bhagavad Gita, we still have many impersonal conceptions. And when Krishna says, I am the taste of water, I am the light of the sun and the moon, we think, yeah, that's what I've been saying. That's what I've been trying to tell everybody. That's me. See? It's saying, I am the taste of water. See? I said it. It's me. This is what beginners do with the Bhagavad Gita, unfortunately. Those who come from an impersonal background. But, Bahunam Janmanam Ante, Jnanavanam Prabhantite, Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Samahatma Sujuriyata. When somebody finally snaps out of that impersonalism by the mercy of the Lord, by the mercy of the devotees especially, the devotees can transform impersonalists by giving them garlands, letting them smell flowers and the incense offered to the Lord and taste Krishna Prasad. The easy stuff, it works. In the Nectar of Devotion, it's stated like that. If an impersonalist smells a flower garland, or if he's given a flower garland, or if he smells an incense offered in the temple, he can be relieved of his impersonalism. So, this temple and this deity worship, it's for the purpose of making a revolution in people's lives. And when we go out and we invite people, then we give them a chance to associate with the temple where the center is Krishna and practically, unmistakably Krishna. Say like somebody like me, self-centered person, right? Then I can try to make certain things about me, but when I'm in the temple, I won't be allowed to stay around, or if it's not actually about Krishna. Say I wanted to jump on the altar, which is just sacrilegious and offensive even to talk about. No, none of the devotees will allow it. Only Gauri Thakur getting the arti. I'm sorry, Prabhu, you have to, you'll have to, do some kirtan now. You have to sing Krishna's name. We're not going to sing your name like that. So, but from within, sometimes we maintain some impurities and self-centeredness. But that is why the temple is so amazing. It's because if you come here, then it's about Krishna. It's about Gauri Thakur. We're giving them the flowers. We're giving them the food. We're giving them the garlands. We're giving them the vases. We're giving them the incense. We're giving them the kirtan. And what does it mean? It means we have to force. We're servants again. We're servants. Again means we're forced to come into the reality that we're the eternal servant of Krishna. And at the beginning it feels like poison, which Rupa Goswami stated in the Nectar of Instruction. But it's actually sweet, sweet, sweet nectar. And when we taste the sweet nectar of Bhakti Rasa in relation with Rasa Raj, Sri Krishna, then we'll get Param Drishrani Vartate, we'll get a higher taste. And I think at the end of this purport, Prabhupada spoke about this point. A higher taste. Wasn't here. I was reading that somewhere else. So by experiencing a higher taste, then we can give up our attachment for the Brahmajyoti and falsely claim to be God and so many other misconceptions. And we can just understand, I'm just the insignificant, eternal servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. And personalities like Prabodhananda Saraswati and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they felt an incredible amount of dhainya, or real spiritual humility, where they lamented periodically about their misfortune, supposed misfortune, of not being able to take up the process of devotional service with full enthusiasm. So this is one of the moods of the acharyas, is feeling like, I'm just not doing it. I'm just really not doing my best. I'm covered by so many sins and so much disgusting bad habits, and Krishna is my only hope. And that type of consciousness is very nice, because by actually developing that mood of surrender to Krishna, then everything is achieved. And that's called Shraddha, that's called faith. And that's why in the devotional circle of pure devotees, then those things are stressed. Everything is stressed, which will lead to bringing one to the point of full surrender to Krishna and full faith in Krishna's protection. I can try to become free from limitation and fear by so many means according to my own mind, but they're not going to last and they're not going to work, as was stated the other day by Radhastali Mataji. She quoted Prahlad Maharaj, and she was saying that all the remedial measures that I may take in this world, they simply make more trouble in my life. So I was thinking about this fear point. Fear is all pervasive. Fear is incumbent into the material concept of life, because I'm always fearful. I'm always fearful for something. I'm always fearful to lose what I have, either subtly or grossly. And I'm always fearful to gain something subtle or gross. Anxiety, it's fear. I'm anxious to have honor, and I'm anxious to lose honor. I'm anxious to have wealth or food, and I'm anxious to lose food or wealth. Isn't it? It's just all the fear. It's just fear. Limitation for losing, or fear that I'm going to lose it, or attachment to having it, and this greediness to possess it, what I don't have. And the only hope is to understand that Krishna is the proprietor, he's the controller, he's the owner of everything. Nothing belongs to me except my loving relationship of service to him. Service is my only possession, and love, which is the essence of service, or service is the essence of love, you can say. If there's no service, then how is there really love? So my service is the most important thing to me. So we should become attached to Krishna's service and not to anything else. And I can't serve the Brahma Jyoti. I can't serve light. So there's no nectar there. And actually, the great acharyas say that when somebody actually serves Krishna through the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Gauranga, by his mercy we can actually attain to bhakti, and his tidal wave of devotional service is actually sweeping the entire globe. And by his mercy we're taking to bhakti, and impersonalism and merging with the Supreme becomes worse than hell. The devotees, they actually feel like that. So this is amazing, and we're so fortunate to be in association of Karma Muni and Kapila Dev, as well as Shri Shri Gaur Nitai and all the devotees. So we pray that if Shri Shri Gaur Nitai so desire, that we may also be able to become fully absorbed in Krishna's service at every moment, and give our hearts 100% to this Sankirtan movement, and thus also become free from limitation and fear, and help everybody else in the whole world also become like this by practicing Bhakti Yoga. Thank you for considering our request. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? No? Anybody online?
You have a hand raised.
Okay,
Gurudev. 1 second, Gurudev. Okay, if you can hear me, Gurudev, we're ready for you.
Did you change this?
Change the speaker, how do you do that? Oh, no, I haven't. It's on phone speaker, but I don't think he's talking.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Sorry, everyone. I had a small comment, if that's okay. Sorry to let you down.
That's great, bro. Thank you.
I just was hearing something in regards to... you made a few mentions how people want this knowledge, they want Krishna consciousness, and I was hearing yesterday about how to approach such people. From Kripamoy Prabhu, he was talking about how we must consider 4 things. The first, what is the need of the person that we're speaking with? And then what is their interest? And then what is their concern? And what are their expectations? So that's Nice, nice. He says a preacher teacher must be nice. And I thought that was nice. So I wanted to share. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, so generally, what is their need? Their need is to remember Krishna.
Oh, we have another comment.
Okay, another comment.
Just go to Mangalmataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Actually, as Prabhu was talking about fear, so I had very nice, like I heard in one lecture, why we have fear. Because Jivatma, ultimately it is servant of Krishna. Then why it is having fear? So Jeev Goswami explains very nicely. So very quickly, I'll just tell that. Like he says that why a Jivatma is having fear, because he is always in dualities. Like Prabhu also mentioned about dualities. He's always like, if he gets something which he likes, then he's happy. If he gets something which he doesn't like, then he's not happy. So now then Jeev Goswami says why he is in duality. Then the reason he gives, because the Jivatma is covered with gross and subtle bodies. So now again question come, he is servant of Krishna, he is eternal, then why he is covered with gross and subtle bodies? So he explains that the reason is avidya. Because of avidya, he forgets that he is servant of Krishna, so he considers himself as gross and subtle body. Now why that avidya is working on that jiva? So then he says that this is because of Maya. Maya is doing that service for Krishna, that Maya is covering the jiva with avidya. So now the question comes, then why Maya is covering that jiva? So Jeev Goswami explains, because the jiva, jivatma, it does not has paratattva jnanam. Paratattva jnanam means the knowledge about the absolute truth. So he says that if a jivatma can get the knowledge about the absolute truth, then that knowledge is so powerful that ultimately this whole process can be reversed, and a jivatma can come out from the fear. So that I just wanted to say that. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. So that is the need of every jiva, to understand the absolute truth. Thank you very much. Srila Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
All glories to Samudhi Devotees.
Hare Krishna.